Good morning. It's Sunday morning. It's March the 2nd. Welcome to March 2025. And I'm Norma Cowie here with a Sunday thought. Today, my Sunday thought deals with stubborn or determined. And how I came about this topic is because I was thinking, I don't know, it was yesterday or the day before, like, okay, what am I going to talk about on Sunday? Because Sunday thought's just a small little presentation of an idea that you get to contemplate and think about. And so I looked at my tarot cards and this symbol came up. Now, the Emperor is known for very stern and being around a while and in a way stubborn and set in his ideas and concepts. And I'm sure if you've ever run into a stubborn person, it's like you hit a wall. Like nothing is going to shift them, nothing at all. It doesn't matter how many ways you may approach a different topic and things like that. They are not going to shift or move. So the difference between stubborn and determined is you have an idea and a concept. You'll listen to everyone else to make sure how it works. And maybe there is some part in there you want to incorporate, or maybe not. But they're more open. Stubborn is not open at all. So I just happened to reach into my insight box, the little symbols here. The one that came up I thought was very, very appropriate. When I am willing to see things differently, things become different for me. And that's what happens when we get stuck on an idea or a concept, or this is the way it is. So there's no room for change, no room. That is that stubborn concept. And I'm sure any of you that are listening know at least one person that's like that. Like new ideas, poo-poo. We don't know. There's not that one worked. That's not going to happen. This is the way it is, not that way. And sometimes we forget to be able to clarify or put into a perspective of how where are we stubborn or where are we determined? I'm probably fit more into the determined quality than the stubborn quality, but I've known to dig my heels in on a few things, especially things I really believe in very strongly. It's like, this is the way it is, as far as I'm concerned. And then some metaphysical concepts. I do have that, which is very different than what a lot of people in metaphysics think about too. So it's like, I understand that I understand the stubborn part. I like to think I'm determined, that I'm open and listen and we'll talk about the different variances and things, because I am willing to see things from a different perspective. In fact, I've spent most of my life looking at different aspects than the majority of metaphysical thinking, first in the tarots, then in the reincarnation and other things. And I work to have my throat cleared today, but already it's beginning to go. So we've got some Elistia here to help. And I didn't even have breakfast this morning. I thought maybe that was because I tend to eat before I work. And then obviously it's not that. But anyway, there's a lot of interesting things happening and going on outside right now in the world. And I know that with the symbol particularly coming up, that a lot of people are going to be kind of taking sides. This is right, this is not right, and instead of perhaps having an open mind to listen and think and do some research and take a look at different particulars as to what's what and what's with. Very often when we are stubborn, we actually have a strong emotional side. When the emotions are triggered, we lose reasoning very often. Now we know when we're wanting to create, we'll go back to how we create within our lives, we need to have a balance between the mental and the emotional. That's the preferred place. That's the preferred way of where we need to be. And so when we have things changing as they're changing now, and and one person says this is going to happen, another person says that's going to happen, very often what will happen is that we will cling on to one thing that we feel is reasonable, maybe not reasonable, but it connects with us, and we won't shift from that. So we're not going to have a determined viewpoint of seeing what else is there to be able to maneuver into a new insight or a new awareness. I often have this image, when I one of my children was very stubborn, and I have this image of basically it's like the feet hitting the ground, and it's like you're pulling, like we're going here, we're going to do this, and it's like, no, I'm not, no, I'm not, no, I'm not. So it's like having this tremendous stubborn approach. And so guess what happens when you do have a stubborn approach? And as I'm speaking to adults, is that most of you will have found this already. You bang your head against the wall. I always found when I got really stubborn and wasn't listening to what anybody said, I had my idea, and that was kind of where it is. But it was to learn how to listen and then be practically reasonable in when you explained why that particular idea wasn't what you were seeing or perceiving or doing, rather than meeting like head to head, like saying, no, you're wrong, it's this way or it's that way. What I found worked for me was to say, well, what I have found is that this works in this situation, or what I have found is, and so worked at having the reasonable perception, because some of my ideas most people don't even venture to do, and then I come out with them at times, and I have worked over the time as not really to go and explore a lot of things unless I'm with a group of people that want to really understand and know. And as you know, the last 2 years, I haven't been out and about that much at all. Well, before that was COVID. So it's like, yeah, well, a lot of years. That's why I sit here and talk to a screen. And hopefully that people are listening on the other side, and of which I appreciate, believe me, totally appreciate. There is a lot of changes as I'm getting stronger. For those of you that have followed my journey a little bit, as I'm getting stronger, I'm involved right now doing the bookkeeping for last year, and that's been a challenge too. But anyway, that's another story. My determination is I will complete this very quickly. But what the reality is, doesn't always work that way. It took me all day to do the month of January to get it to me to complete. But that's life, and so my determination is this is going to get done. So time is being allotted to it. But it is that whole thing of being willing to see things differently. When I talk about how people arrive at this planet, for instance, a lot of people either just thoroughly ignore what I say, can't believe what I'm saying, and make making, what would you call it, jumps of without really looking at what I've actually said, like the basis for it. How souls arrive here, and what happens, and why we're arriving here. Now, I've been around in this planet for a long, long time. I know that because I have memories of long, long, long ago. And they're not just memories I picked out from somewhere else. It was my experiences, and some were great and some weren't so great. But the point is that's what this planet is about. And so what happens when you come into this planet and you're adjusting, you may take quite a few lifetimes to kind of accept this is where you are. Some people arrive here not because they've chosen to be here. Some people arrive here because they're sent here, or they were just flying around and all of a sudden we're here, because this is an emotional planet. And this is something I say often because it doesn't really go in the first time you hear this. The majority of planets that I have explored or seen or visited are mental. they have a mental approach, very logical. This is the way it is. Some of them are very nice and very happy and things like that, but they're very logical. And then you come to planet Earth, which basically is emotional, and you're not used to ever having to deal with emotions. It's kind of like grad school, I think. When we get everything figured out here one way or another, we come down and then we have to learn how this emotional element works. And it's like learning to be open. And I'm one of the things that really triggered for me how emotional this planet is was I was at a Buddhist day experience. I'll say experience. It was like a workshop, I guess. And we went outside on this grass barefooted, and we were doing what they call a yoga walk, where you put the heel of your foot down, and then you very, very slowly move to your finger, your toes, sorry, and then move on. And I have not ever really followed the Buddhist way, but my husband at the time followed all sorts of different religions, which was good for me because I got exposed to a lot of different things at that time. And but what I found was pretty magical, because as my foot went down, I'll make this the earth. As my foot came down into the earth, it was like the earth took it. And then as I moved off, like my heel rose, and it was as though it lifted, because it's all done slowly, so you get to feel it. I'm going to suggest for those of you that watch this, and when it's nice and warm, you can go out and this nice green grass. You can feel the earth welcoming you. You just go slow, and it supports you and lifts you off, but you have to be really slow. And when you think about it, how much do we miss? Excuse me here. How much do we miss because we go too fast? I have a very quick mind. Well, I used to have a very quick mind. And very often it would miss things because it was already on to the next thing. In some ways it works very well when you're inputting a whole lot of new information. But otherwise, you're going to sort of sit back and let it congeal and come in and kind of begin to look at branches, you might say, of whatever that is. So the whole thing is when you're approaching anything, like if I was approaching to do a slow Buddhist walk in a stubborn way, saying, I'm not going to do that, then I would never, ever have experienced how the earth welcomes you. I would never have experienced that the earth is feeling, that it feels. I've done a lot of work with the earth since then, but I wasn't really connected to the earth up till that point. Like it was there, I knew, and I did some meditations around with people about going down and talking to the Earth Mother and stuff. But now I have a personal relationship with the Earth Mother, and it's quite different than most, but just fine. That's me. I'm always on, so you might say, the outside of things. And I just looked at the time. I thought I wasn't going to have much to be able to speak on, and look at me. Here I go off on a little bit of a tangent. But the thing is to remember, to be willing to see things differently, to listen, and then to incorporate it with what you know is right for you, or to work on how you work. This is a Sunday thought is always to, to provoke a thought patterning about connection. Whether it is connection to God, to Jesus, to any other deity that's out there, whether it is the idea of connecting with yourself. How do you connect with yourself? How do you connect with others? Do you feel isolated? Do you feel not part of the whole? Oh, there's lots of things here that actually creates. So it's like the being willingness to see things differently. To respond differently, so that you yourself can become open and yet not closed. Open and determined is kind of where we want to go. Not stubborn, you're closed. You don't want to be closed. You want to be open, moving forward. And on that note, I'm going to say, I'm wrapping up, and I'm just going to say hello to Karen B. And she says, good Sunday morning. And Yvonne Olson, this is a great talk, stubborn, determined, lots of nuance. I sure have issues there. Bless your heart, Yvonne. Thank you. And thank you for the comments. Lovely. And then Karen B again, love your Sunday thoughts today with lots of hearts. Perfect. Yeah, yeah, lots of love coming my way is really, really good because bookkeeping awaits. Hopefully February will be done very easily now that I've got all the kinks worked out. Oh, well. Anyway, life is good. We're moving on. This is where it is. I'll be back on Wednesday, and I'm not sure what I'm going to talk about yet. I think I'm going to talk about reincarnation because I've got a workshop coming up, so it'll spark some of my information. Okay, blessings, lots of love. Enjoy March. It's getting warmer here. Hope it's getting warmer or cooler wherever you are. Blessings. Bye now.